Hey, hello, my friends. It is Amanda here, and this is a new episode of Unbottled Potential that I'm super jazzed to bring to you because we are talking about the way to come back after a sobriety slip up. And I'm excited about this topic because slip ups can actually be our biggest learning opportunities. Now, I always feel for my clients and my students when they have a slip up, and I know that it would be in your mind, best case scenario to never have a slip up once you've committed to living alcohol free. But the reality is that slip ups are there as our teachers. Slip ups are actually learning opportunities. And if we can choose to learn the lesson that the slip up is trying to teach us, we're going to come back stronger and more resilient and more prepared for life. So today, I want to teach you how to come back from a sobriety slip up and how to use it as an actual learning opportunity and actually use it as something that is going to make you stronger. And I will say that, I actually am a outlier in this world because once I decided to quit drinking, that was it. That was the decision. And I did not have a slip up, but I also didn't have much of a choice because guess what? There were not people out there guiding me in the way that I needed to be guided back in the day when I stopped drinking. The only route to quit drinking was AA. And if you didn't want to do AA, then you probably didn't need to quit drinking. You just needed to figure out how to moderate. And that was not an option for me either. So I, being a headstrong, stubborn little gal that I am, just decided I was going to make it work. So I did not have a slip up, but it was out of necessity almost, not out of for lacking of wanting to have one. And I am so grateful to be here as a coach today to be able to teach my clients and students how to come back after a slip up because it is so common in a world that tells us that alcohol is the solution for all of our ailments and is also the best option to turn to if we want to celebrate and elevate our mood. We are constantly being fed messages and opportunities to use alcohol as a lubricant and a crutch and an anesthetic. And when we get these messages all the time, it is so hard not to believe them. It is so hard to rewire our brains. And so today, I want to turn you on to how to spot a slip up when it's on the way and what to do if you have one, and then how to prevent them in the future. And that is just for showing up. It's for showing up for the problem that is creating the slip up in the first place. So I am actually recording this right after the Thanksgiving holiday here in the US. And this is very timely because I had multiple of my students and clients reach out to me over the past weekend with either a admission of a slip up or a near slip up that they wanted to share. And again, I always look at slip ups as learning opportunities. So when it comes to my students or you, even if you're not my student, I want you to know that I will never shame you, blame you, make you wrong, um, try to put you down in any way for slipping up because it is a natural learning opportunity. It is actually a brilliant gift to have a slip up. Now, that's not to say I want you to have a slip up all the time because I'd like you to learn the lesson after one or maybe one or two, so that you can eliminate the problem in the first place. And so I just want to share with you as we get started some of the most common slip ups that my clients came to me with this weekend, knowing that this information is going to apply to you 365 days of the year because these triggers that I mentioned are always going to be available. But this is incredibly timely information here during the holiday season. We're approaching Christmas or the festive season, whatever you call it, wherever you're at. And this is when all of these triggers are amplified. They are put into a pressure cooker. So I want to be really mindful that many of you, if you are listening to this in real time, are going to have some really amazing learning opportunities coming up for you with either temptations to have a slip up or the opportunity to actually learn from a slip up. So if that is resonating with you, I'm here. I'm here to support you, and I'm here to help you come back from them with ease and grace, stronger than ever before. So some of the most common triggers that you're going to see and identify all the time, but specifically during the holidays, number one, family, increased time with family, increased time around family drama, and especially under the guise of we should just all be happy, ignore all of our problems. And that is never, never the way things turn out. Am I right? The next is lovers and romantic partners. We have increased time and increased pressure for everything to be Hallmark special perfect, right? With our lovers around the holiday season. So there's an increased, and just all year round again, but there's an increased pressure around the holidays. nostalgia that can come with going home or going back to your roots, going back to a place that has a special memory with it, or has a specific memory that you associate with alcohol that maybe you have a little bit of a romanticized view of, and overwhelm. Don't need to explain that one. Y'all got it. Anxiety, social anxiety, particularly. And then this sense that if we are overwhelmed, or if we are in a special occasion, that it's just time to have this one and to treat ourselves, right? And so we also have the treat yourself mentality that can be a trigger, especially again around the holidays. So I receive notes from clients at all levels of their journey. Right now, I have 3 different kind of ways that people are working with me. One in an introductory class, my program Stop Drinking, Start Manifesting, where these are women who are fairly new or brand new to the alcohol-free journey. I have my one-on-one clients who are at various stages of being alcohol-free. Some of them in a higher level mentorship program where they have been alcohol-free for quite some time and are just looking to up-level their lives. And then women in my high-level mastermind who have all been alcohol-free 90 plus days, but for many of them, this is their first holiday season alcohol free. So I had an abundance of voice notes and examples that I could share with you about near miss slip up experiences and actual slip up experiences this weekend. And I am celebrating them all because, again, they are all tremendous learning opportunities. So instead of looking at them as a mistake or a reason to beat yourself up, if you have had or come close to having a slip up, I actually want to look at it very joyfully and say thank you to it. And so to do that, I want to share one specific example from a client who wrote me over the holiday weekend, and noting that you could actually take out her comments and replace them with whatever situation resonates with you. So she says, Amanda, I'm kind of having a meltdown because I drank on Friday. I made it through Wednesday and Thursday. Again, that was Thanksgiving. But Friday was my ex-boyfriend's birthday and he invited me out and I knew exactly what was going to happen. I'm just beside myself with disappointment. Then she says, here's the kicker. Maybe I am not ready to commit to no alcohol, but I absolutely know I need to let it go. I'm not sure where to go from here. So if you've been here, first of all, I just want to say, I see you, I feel you. This is a completely normal situation. And it is also so normal to be disappointed in yourself. And it's also normal to have this dissonance. The phrase I want to point you back to in particular is, maybe I'm not ready to commit to no alcohol. So she started to talk herself into, well, I screwed up, so maybe this isn't the right time. And that, my friends, is the voice of your ego, your inner voice of self-sabotage that is trying to talk you out of something that you know, she says, I absolutely know I need to let it go. So if you are or have been in this place, I want to actually do what I did for my client. I want to call you out if you've had a slip up and you've let it create some dissonance in your mind about whether or not you're ready to quit drinking. You know, this sometimes looks like, well, maybe I'm being too strict with myself, or maybe I don't have what it takes to do this. And these are just these phrases are a dime a dozen that my clients repeat them to me all the time, yet they think they are the only ones having these conversations in their head. So I just want to repeat these phrases to you so that you know how common they are. That way, if you hear it coming up, you're like, oh, wait, Amanda told me I should look out for that. I'm not a weirdo or a loser or a freak because I had this thought come up. It's completely normal. And it's also not true, because let me tell you what, your inner guide would not have brought to you this possibility, this sober curiosity that you have, if it was not going to be absolutely transformational to you. I always say your inner guide does not whisper to you at random. Okay. Do you know, my friend, what kind of noise your inner guide had to get through in order to send you this message, this curiosity about sobriety? A lot. It had to get through your own misconceptions about alcohol and your belief that you needed it in your life. It had to get through all of this societal programming to get you to hear this little message of, maybe my life would be better without alcohol. So if by some miracle you have heard that calling, which I know you have, because why else would you be listening to this podcast? Why else would you be following me? Then I know that message is important. Your inner guide does not whisper to you at random. All right. So I want you to just acknowledge and honor all of the hard work your inner guide had to do to get this little, very sensitive, delicate, rebellious message to you and for you to hear it. Okay. That tells me it needed to be heard. It doesn't tell me you have a problem. And in fact, it tells me something different, because in the end, Alcohol is not your problem unless you are very, very certain you're suffering from an addiction. And if in which case, take this with a grain of salt. But if you know that you are a social, casual, normal drinker that doesn't need addiction and recovery support, alcohol is not your problem. It is simply your ineffective solution. And I could actually say that that's probably true across the board, but because I don't work in addiction and recovery, I have to give that caveat. But let me repeat this for you. Alcohol is not your problem. Her problem, my client's problem, was not that she failed at alcohol. It is that she failed to have an effective solution to the problem at hand. This is a phrase that I kind of adapted from something Glennon Doyle said in her book Untamed. So just remember, alcohol is not your problem. It is your ineffective solution. So with my client, although it could have sounded to her like alcohol was the problem, although she could have convinced herself that was the problem, the real problem was whatever drama and inner turmoil her ex brought up. Now, that doesn't mean her ex is the actual problem. It could be that, but the real problem was that she put herself in a situation where she knew what was going to happen, and her only effective quick fix solution to that problem was to drink. Okay. So when you are under resourced with effective solutions, it is so common to turn back to the fastest, quickest fix solution that you have available, which is almost always alcohol. Now, again, this doesn't have to apply directly to an ex-boyfriend or whatever. This could apply to all of those situations. That the problem is not alcohol. The problem is you don't have effective solutions to deal with your family, to deal with holiday stress, to deal with your lover, to deal with overwhelm, to deal with any of the things that are the actual problem. Okay. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not recommending that you never see your ex again, because you can't control that. Who knows when you're going to have a run in, to never, see your family or never go out in public in stressful social situations. That's not an effective solution either. That's called avoidance of the problem. That's called bypassing the problem. All right. So what we need to do is look at the trigger. So in this case, it was the ex, but it was something even beyond that in the situation, which I don't know. I haven't had a full download with her about the situation. But what we need to do is we need to look at the problem at hand and then resource ourselves with more effective solutions. Now, this is so important because this is actually a behind the scenes peek at the most profound work that I do with my clients. And most of my clients are really astounded to tell when a lot of our work doesn't have to do exactly with alcohol. We're not talking about, their relationship with alcohol. What we're talking about is their relationship to problem solving. Okay. And this is one of the marks that I think a lot of sobriety programs out there miss. I'm not saying everyone, because guess what? I haven't gone through every program, but I know from having enough clients come to me after graduating or participating in other programs that they have been in a state where they've just thought that if I remove alcohol, then I've solved the problem. Oh, no, because alcohol is just masking the problem. So when we remove alcohol, what it does to us is it actually reveals the places where we have emotionally and socially stunted our growth, where we have come up with ineffective solutions to a bigger problem. And there, my friends, lies the opportunity to learn and grow. So my work, the way that I coach through finding a new relationship with alcohol, removing alcohol from your life, is I help you find effective solutions to the actual problem at hand, which means that we need to identify the problem and look at it, which can be really difficult and which can also take some self-control, because most of the reasons we keep exposing ourselves to these problems is because we don't want to look at it, because we want to be blind, or because secretly we want to play the victim, or because we don't know how to set boundaries with ourselves and others. And so just eliminating the alcohol from the equation is not going to help. Abstinence alone, getting 100, 200, 300, a million days alcohol free is not going to solve the problem. Okay. That is just going to give us, the opportunity to avoid the problem. So here is what I would have you do. This is a caveat because these are things that I work on for months with my clients on a very unique and individuated basis, because everyone is a unique and individual human being, even though across the board we seem to have the same problems. I want you to know that this is a very boiled down way in which to identify the problem and come back after a slip up. So if you've had one of those places, what we can do is we can look at what happened And we can offer some opportunities to grow and learn and resource ourselves better and come up with more effective solutions for the problem. Okay. So if you've had a slip up or a near miss situation, here's where I want you to go to get back on track. First of all, I want you to be gentle with yourself. If you are trash talking yourself, telling yourself you're a failure, beating yourself up, that's not helpful. That is not helpful at all. Because you are a person going through a human experience, and human experiences have learning opportunities. Okay. And so you are not a failure. I want you to remember you did not fail at something because you had a slip up. You are only under resourced with solutions. And so if we can acknowledge that and say, okay, that's really great because now I can find better solutions. Then you have won, my friend, you have won. And you also are maybe overwhelmed with exposing yourself to problems before you're ready. So the second step is, after you've been gentle with yourself, step one, the second step is get curious, ask, what was the problem that I didn't have a solution to? And again, this isn't necessarily my ex sucks, my family sucks, my job sucks. It could be, and they could all have varying levels of suckiness to them. But it's not effective. An effective solution is not to avoid them. In the short term, it might be best to avoid them until you come up with an effective solution. And I wholeheartedly recommend that. In fact, let me give you the permission slip right now to avoid your ex, to avoid specific conversations with your romantic partner, to avoid your family, to avoid specific social situations, if you do not feel resourced and strong enough in your willpower to not drink. Because the most important thing right now is that you have a period of abstinence so that you can get your confidence about you. And confidence comes from commitments that you make and keep to yourself. Okay. So I want you to take a permission slip right now for a couple of months, not forever, for a couple of months, to avoid the trigger for the problem. Okay. But then I also want you to ask, under that problem, under the discomfort I felt around my family, my partner, my ex, around a long day of work, around a social situation, what was the emotional state I was either trying to avoid or achieve? Was I trying to avoid anxiety, discomfort, feeling different? Was I trying to achieve making someone else happy, feeling more calm? All right. What is the emotional state under the trigger that you were trying to avoid or achieve? And if we can identify that, then what we can do is we can start to build up your resource toolkit. We can start to flex the muscle that will help you to have better a solution center basically for you to deal with that impermissible emotion, that emotional state that you have never learned to sit in and sit with. And let me tell you what, when you can learn to be a steward to and attend to your emotions, when they come up, especially the ones that feel impermissible, especially the ones that feel overwhelming and even scary, you are going to have a superpower in this world that cannot be matched. You are going to be, from that point, a better daughter or son, a better cousin, sister, family member, whatever, unit of your family, a better lover, a better friend, a better coworker, a better boss, a better person on the street, because you are going to have a power that most people do not tap into. And that is the ability to notice, name, attend to, and sit with your emotions, no matter how big or small. And this goes for happy emotions too. Most of us are not resourced to sit with pure happiness, joy, and bliss. We feel overwhelmed by it. Not going to go into all of the expanse of emotions that you might have trouble dealing with. But what I want you to know is that if you can identify it and start to feel curious about it, then we can give you the tools to actually figure out how to sit with and sit through them. And as you do that, you will become a more powerful and authentic version of yourself. I can promise you that. So after you have forgiven yourself, been gentle with yourself, gotten curious, it's time to get to work. It's time to start flexing that muscle before the problem comes back. Because again, we don't want to just avoid the trigger and the problem forever. What we want to do is we want to resource ourselves so that when we are around that problem, if there are some situations in family units or with people that you will want to avoid them forever. Okay. But this is very nuanced, right? We don't want to go into that. We want to make you feel so powerful that you can go back into that situation and face it and feel amazing about it. Okay. So we want to start flexing the muscle before the problem comes back. And this is a practice makes perfect situation. So if I were going, to compare it to, we're basically, it's like a sink or swim. You don't just jump in the ocean and hope that you can learn how to swim. No, you take swimming lessons. You learn how to swim and float in more shallow water. And then when you get thrown into the ocean, when you jump into the ocean or the body of water, whatever it is, you already know how to swim, how to take care of yourself. And again, there's no way I can go into all of these resources on on an episode here, but I want you to know that it's possible and that there are people out there willing and ready to help you. I have built an entire coaching practice around helping you to find more effective solutions than alcohol. And I feel like I'm pretty darn good at it and would love to talk to you individually if that's something that you would like more support on, or it would be a great opportunity if you're not ready for one-on-one support to maybe join in one of my programs, because you are, my friend, more capable and more resilient than you give yourself credit for. You are more resourceful than you give yourself credit for. But until you get turned on to the resources that you actually need, it's so common. It's so easy to resort back to a quick fix like alcohol, because we grew up in family units where we were not given the resources and the tools we needed to fully function in the world, because our parents were doing the best that they could with the information that they had, because they taught us suboptimal, sometimes at best, coping skills for some of our emotions. Some of us, most of us, almost all of us are under-resourced in how to actually cope and manage things. And so therefore, when the world tells us, hey, here's a great solution, we pick it up and we grasp onto it desperately. And I want to give you the permission to release that shitty solution that actually doesn't help. Because guess what? If alcohol actually helped us relieve our family problems, relieve us of conflict with our ex or with our partner, relieve us of stress, then the next time that stress or conflict or drama came up, we would be resourced to deal with it. And alcohol does not do that. Alcohol just convinces us to come back for more as a coping solution, as a crutch, as a lubricant, as an anesthetic, and you can do better. You can do better. And I know that. And so does your inner guide, because your inner guide would not have guided you to be sober curious if your inner guide didn't know you had what it takes. Okay. And so I want you to know that I believe in you. Your inner guide believes in you, even if you don't fully believe in yourself right now, even if you don't fully believe it's possible, even if you're beating yourself up from a slip up. If you go through those 3 steps, be gentle, get curious, and get to work and really start working on finding more effective solutions, again, you are going to have a superpower that cannot be matched. You will have trained for life at an Olympic level that is just going to set you up to be a better person. This is the way that you fill your cup so that your cup overflows and that the goodness spills over into other people. You are going to become a model for your family, friends, and coworkers, and people's lives. Even if you do not intentionally do anything else, people's lives around you are going to change and be made better by the fact that you have chosen to show up for yourself, by the fact that you have chosen to find more effective solutions to your problems than drinking. Okay. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. Again, I can't go into every different scenario and offer all of the solutions and more effective ways to flex your muscle in this episode. But I hope that this gave you some place to start when it comes to recovering from a slip up, because they are truly learning opportunities, and they are opportunities to learn where we might have situations that we can set some boundaries and avoid. And most importantly, slip ups are opportunities where we can learn to find more effective solutions. So if you are feeling this, I would love to hear from you. I would love a DM on Instagram. I'm at Amanda Kuda, to let me know that you heard this and it helped you. I'd love if you screenshot and share this episode. And so very importantly, if you really loved this podcast, I would love if you rate and review it on your podcast app of choice. And if you do that, do know that if you screenshot it before you submit it and send me that screenshot, I will send you a link to a very special meditation I created for you that I think you'll really dig. And I'm grateful to have you here again. I'm rooting for you. This is the work that I was put here on the planet to do. And I can't explain why, but I know that I'm supposed to be teaching you right now how to just live a more miraculous life without alcohol, how to just step into your best self and really, really change the trajectory of your life. This will change if you learn to find effective solutions to your problem. You will change the trajectory of your life, and it will be nothing short of miraculous. And I know that and believe that. And I hope that you feel that too. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you. I'm sending you love. If you are listening to this in the holiday, I'm sending you strength to reflect and look at these situations as they come online. And I will catch you here again next week. Take care. Bye for now.